Good evening, everyone. This is Rodney with the Triton Wave Market Outlook for Friday, September 28th, 2012. Well, let's look and see what happened today. We did get a bounce today. One of the reasons it started to take off around 10 o'clock. Let me put actually, I don't have the graph right now. I'll show you that in a minute. One of the things I wanted to do is do a comparison of the transportations to the S&P futures, and this chart goes back. They both go back about a year. I'm sorry, till the beginning of the year, so till January. And you can see that the S&Ps have been traveling up nicely inside this channel. They still, one time they broke out of the channel, came right back in a day later, and right now it's hovering right at the 8-period moving average, exponential moving average. Okay, let's squinch this up a little bit and get the same timeline here and look and see what the transportations are doing here on the right. So the transportations, while the S&P are going up, are still going sideways. So yes, we had a nice rally today. It was up like 109 points at one time, and I think like 11 or 1200 on the ES at one time. It finished up, I think it finished up around 7 points on the S&P and 72 on the Dow. So it's basically a relief rally from what's been going on. This is not I do not believe that this is the start of a new leg up. I think there's window dressing coming in at the end of the month, end of the quarter, which is tomorrow, and October starts a new month and a new quarter. So you can see if we squinch these graphs up, this is sideways to down on the transportations, and you can see how it's been just completely decimated in the last week and a half, where the Dow is kind of going sideways. It's right, as I say, it's right at the 8-period exponential moving average right now. So let's change this here to this, go to the ES. And the 15. Okay, I wanted to point out this is the beginning of the day, this white hash mark here. This is yesterday at 8:30, this is today at 8:30. And this started moving up when the Chinese announced that they were going to put money into the banking system to try to stimulate it. One of the things I did want to show you is, okay, I wanted to show you this picture that I got off of Bloomberg. What the Chinese, this is a one-year chart of the Shanghai Shenzhen markets, CSI 300 index, and this is what's been doing. This goes back 1 year, and it's basically at the low for the year. All right, let's go back 5 years. All right, this is 5 years. This move down here on the left-hand part of the chart, down into October of 2008, was our crash. Well, in our stock market, we're way up off the charts, way up here. The Chinese stock market, they're not only at the low for the year, they're at the low for the last 3 years, going on 4 years. And they may even go and bottom out this. It's one of the reasons why they've come up with a stimulus package to try to boost their economy, because it's lagging behind their own expectations for growth. So it worked for Bernanke, it worked for the ECB, maybe it'll work for China, but it did not work for Japan. I don't think it's going to work for China, and I think we've put a high in place. Now, I may say all this, but it doesn't mean that I don't have stops in place, because if I'm wrong, I'm just going to get stopped out. But I believe that October will hit a decline phase when everybody wakes up to the reality of what's going on, and especially if we look at the Aussie yen. Okay, on the left, this goes back to like the beginning of January, and this chart on the ES goes back to the beginning of January. So we can just, actually it goes back further, but they just about line up here. You can squinch that up a little bit. Okay, so there's nothing on the Aussie yen that's saying it's we're still in risk off mode. So yes, it did take this little hiccup today, and so did the Dow, but we are still in risk off mode as far as I can tell. So my scenario, and I may be wrong, and that's why I have stops in place, is that this is just going to continue down. This wave is going to continue down, and it's going to catch the zero line, and we're going to see a decline starting in October, which happens to be Monday. I think Monday is October 1st. Okay, just checking. Monday is October 1st. And I think we're going to have a decline all the way into the 10th or 12th. My timeline is the 10th or 12th of October before we see anything. And it might be pretty ferocious. And then we'll see probably an attempt at a rally back into the elections, and then maybe down more from there. That's my scenario. It may play out the way I think it is. It may not, but that's why you have stops in place. That's why I'll have the stops in place anyway, and you should also. All right, let's look at Goldman Sachs. I still like it to the downside. If you can see, it's falling in this. It's got a new trend line established here. It's right at the 377 and the 8-period. I mean the 8-period exponential moving average, and the same with right in here. So it looks like the wave is starting to roll over a little bit. I still like a continuation, even though it had a little help today. But I still like Goldman to the downside. Okay, Amazon, it looked like it was ready to cash in some of its chips right here. It was down like 4 out of 5 days, but it was up pretty nicely today. It's still in a sloping downtrend on T1 on the daily, and the 21-minute is starting to roll over a little bit. But so I have no play on this until the 21 is below the 377, and wave number 1 on the 21-minute cash price is below 0. Baidu on the 21 looks like it's just like hanging out to 377. It looked like it was just going to go down and stay down yesterday, but yesterday, yes. It did a reversal. It did a reverse candle on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday it did a reverse candle, and today it went the other way. But again, T5 and T4 and T3 is buried below 0. So this may make a little bit more effort to get up a little bit higher, but I still see Baidu as a short or a put play, a one-directional put play, down. Okay, looking at Netflix, it tried to come back a little bit with a 4 or 5 point move, and settled right in the middle of the candle from the day before's move, which was like huge. That was like a 3.5 point move, which is big for Netflix. And today it tried to struggle back up to it's at the 8-period moving average. T5 is below 0. That's still down. It's still below the 377. This is a yet another short when T1 on the 21-minute cash starts rolling over and goes towards zero. And since T5 is already below zero, as soon as it starts heading down just a little bit, that's another short or a put play. Apple had a fun day in the sun today. Look at that. It looked like it was almost ready to come apart at the seams after the announcement of 5 million sales. With projection 7 million, somebody said they came up short. Then somebody else interviewed them interviewed a critic on Bloomberg, and the guy tore apart Apple. But whatever, it started off overnight. It was down almost like 6 or 7 points, but then it seemed to have recovered, and it was down first thing in the morning, and then just took off. So it hit 60, I think 660, 661 in that area, and then ended up at 681. So that was a very, very nice move. Can't see it so well on the 21-minute, but I'll pull up a 1597. But all in all, what I wanted to show you was a declining T1 wave on the daily, and yes, Apple did move up to the 8-period exponential moving average, but we have to wait and see whether the 8 will hold it, because that's actually right now, not only is the 8-period moving average, but let's put a fib tool on this, and it's a 50% retracement from the move down from 705. So this is a critical point for Apple. If this holds, then it'll probably try to take out a new high, and the waves will reverse a little bit. If it doesn't hold, it'll take out a new high. If it does hold, it'll start coming back down again. But I wanted to show you a really nice move. I think the daily, let me see where the daily started today. 8:30, oops. Okay, so the daily started at this hash mark, and it moved down right at the beginning, and then the nicest wave to clear all this that hadn't been above zero before was T4, and that started right about 668, and then just took off all day long to 683, right up to 377 and beyond. So that was a nice move. I did not take it, but it was really nice to watch. Nice to watch the waves work. Looking at MasterCard, it had a nice bounce from its 3-day plunge back. It's a little less than 50% retracement, and it's being held by the 8-period moving average. It also bounced. Not only did it bounce off of the 21-period moving average on the daily, it bounced off the 377 right here on the 21-minute. So that was, I wouldn't use that as an entry with this so far below zero, but it was a heads up that it might take off. Alright, I just went through several graphs, some different time frames on MasterCard. I tried the 144 tick and that didn't work, so I tried the 5-minute on the right chart and the 21-minute on the left chart. So here's what happened. This is just like this kind of analysis that I do every day while the market's going on and after the market. When it came down and hit the 377, the wave in T1 was already starting to move higher. So this was a higher low than this little piece right here. I don't know if you can see that right there. This little nudge here was a higher low than this was, even though the cash was a lower low. So when it hit the 377, that would be a heads up that this could actually take off again. And to me, it's a counter trend trade because on the 21, it's below zero. I mean, on T5 it's below zero, T4 is below zero, all these below zero. So this would be, you'd use this as a counter trend trade. But nevertheless, when it hit the 377, it was heads up that this could bounce. So in actuality, because we're using a 5-minute, we want to ignore T1 and T2 and just go right to T3 and T4. So this was, between the two of these, it looks like it took off at 10 o'clock this morning at 4:48. So it's a nice 4-point move up to the 377. So if you remember yesterday, I mean a couple days ago when I mentioned that I like GLD, but it was not time to buy it because you had to wait till it came down and hit the 21 period moving average at about 168. It did that on Wednesday very, very nicely. Took a bounce right off of it and closed candle near its high, and then took off today for 2.5 points. So that gives even more substance to the fact that if our economy in dollars is getting weaker, then people are starting to buy hard asset classes. So it's something to hold on to. I do see that this actually could take off here. The T5, if you see T1 at yesterday at around 11:15 took off, and then it rolled into T2 above 0, T3, T4, T5. So in other words, since the daily is above 0 and the longer waves T5, T4, and T3 above 0, any move below here is just a very short-term down period. If you wait until this moves up, starts curving to the upside, that again is a buy. So right now it looks like it may take a little bit off there. If you're not already in it, wait until it comes down to about a point and a half to get back in. Okay, lastly, Google. Google is just like kind of trading along its 8-period moving average. I like it. You know, I wouldn't buy it right here because it's near it. I think it already hit an all-time high, or close to it. The daily, I mean the 21. This is like the 5-minute chart here. Let's get a 21-minute because I think that's a little more accurate. Since it's hit its all-time high, it came down and flirted with the 55 period, and it's kind of gone flat to sideways. So it might be saving up some steam to forge higher. I don't. It's not crystal clear to me. So I see that it looks like it may want to move higher. It was up 3 points, but it was up another 6 besides that. So it was up 9 and only finished up 3. But I like the fact that on the daily, this long wave is above 0, and on the 21-minute, let's see how far back this goes. It's been above 0 since July 17th, when the stock was selling for 573. And that was how many hundreds of points ago? 573, so that was 183 points ago. Amazing, 184 points ago. Okay, that's all I have. Good luck trading, and I will see you at the next update.